Hi, I'm Bas and this is the not so comprehensive review of the Panasonic AU-EVA1. 2 weeks ago, Panasonic sent me the EVA1 to test and review. And the first thing I want to go through are just the baseline specs of the camera. The camera has a 5.7K S35 sensor with an EF mount. Now that's great because there's already a lot of EF glass out there, a lot of inexpensive glass, which is actually quite good. Another great thing about the camera is that it records onto SD cards. Now, some people think that is not professional by any standards, but I think it's actually great because SD cards are something you can buy everywhere in the world. So if one of your cards breaks down, you can easily buy a replacement card. And actually, this is a very, very useful feature. It has a 2 to 6 stop ND filter, which is very useful, SDI and HDMI outputs, and 2 XLR inputs. So all in all, I think it's a very rounded camera for this price point. You can easily use it as a run and gun type of camera in a lot of different situations. One of the most talked about features of this camera is obviously the dual native ISO. Basically, I don't care that much. I think that there's a lot of cameras out there doing fine having just one native ISO, and looking at what I got out of the EVA1, I don't think it's that much of a plus considering other cameras in this field. Having said that, I think there's some really, really nice other features of the camera that might be overlooked. One of those is just plain and simple, its weight. I'm used to very large, quite heavy cinema cameras, and to use this is just such a relief. It's easy to just handhold for a very long time, and I can see myself easily shoot with it for at least a day without having any strange injuries or aches or whatever. So the downside of this is that it's quite a plasticky camera, and therefore I'm a bit concerned on the long run and how it will survive my type of abuse when shooting. So why I think that Panasonic might have overdone it with the plastic bits is the screen and the sun hood especially. When I used it, I already had some issues with just keeping it in one piece. So that's something to really take care about. A thing about the screen is good in the sense that it has all the menu options very compactly on it. I would recommend, however, to use a second monitor for critical focus and to really monitor your picture correctly. So when I got the opportunity to test the camera on a small shoot for a friend of mine, I made sure that my external monitor was my focus check, and on the internal monitor of the EVA1, I could easily adjust all the settings for ISO and frames per second. So during this test shoot, I really wanted to see what the camera was made of. I wanted to push the camera really hard on its settings, shoot a lot of slow-mo, and do that in an office environment without the help of any additional film lights. I used my Canon 24-70 2.8L lens and shot slow motion at 200 frames per second. So one thing that always strikes me with these kinds of cameras is the sheer amount of buttons they put on there. I just think it's too many of them, and you never find the right one when you're in a stressful situation. One of the biggest surprises was actually this. This tiny battery kept me going for over 5 hours, and I still had 40% left at the end of it. Now that's something I really didn't expect. And the other thing that really got to me that worked very well is this handle. It's just integrated on the camera, and I just shot for it like this for over 4 hours, and it's a very compact system. If I would buy it, I would definitely get some kind of shoulder mount system just because it's easier and more ergonomically friendly. But in the end, you can shoot with this the whole day. It would be just perfect for it, and it's very, very small. You can just use it like this as a documentary camera, absolutely fine. So all in all, I think it is a good camera. The EVA1 is a very good camera. It has many great features that you might need on a very broad range of professional productions. And I think that if you have this amount of money, it's certainly a camera you should consider.